Hey guys, welcome to the stream again. Welcome. Hi Girish, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. Hi Darshan. Hey, hi everyone. Thanks for joining in. Welcome to the stream. Neeraj, hi Neeraj. How's it going? It's going great. It's going great. Had a pretty light day so far. How's your day? Guys, just comment in the chat. How was your day? How's your day going and all that. I really like my chair. Thank you. This chair was actually I got it as a gift. One of my friends gifted this chair to me on my one of my birthdays, probably like 2 or 3 years ago. Just 2 years ago. This is actually a gaming chair. I play a lot of video games, so it's a pretty neat gift. Thanks. So how are you guys doing, and how's the day for you? Really love to know what you guys are doing these days. Probably let's talk about, and in the Web3 context, whether you guys are learning stuff, learning technologies and all those things. We'll talk about that. Going good so far. Commuting back from office. Oh, you're working from office. That's good to know. It's good to know. Where are you from, Neeraj? By the way, where are you from? Saran says hi Saran, hi Ravindra. Which games do you play? Okay, yeah, I play a lot of different games, but recently I've been playing mostly Apex Legends. Play a lot of different multiplayer games on PC. I don't play any games on mobile or not on console. Play a lot of games on PC. Um, I've been playing Apex Legends for quite some time, probably the last couple of years, and then I play games like Rainbow Six Siege and Valorant and a lot of different single player games as well. But yeah, thanks for asking. I really like talking about playing games and video games and all. Faridabad, okay, nice. I'm from Bangalore. I'm almost mentioning this in all my streams now. I'm from Bangalore. But yeah, I don't know how traffic in Faridabad is if you're commuting to office every day. But yeah, here in Bangalore, it's a tough thing to do every day, day in and day out. If you're doing, if you're traveling to office, it's really hectic here in Bangalore because of all the traffic and all the frustration that you get on the road. Try the old Battlefield 3. Still very active from what I see. Okay, I'll definitely give it a try. From the Battlefield franchise, though, I've played Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, and Battlefield 5 on the multiplayer front. But yeah, Battlefield 1 was something that I love. But yeah, welcome guys. People who are still tuning in, probably give them another couple of minutes, and then we'll get started. We'll talk about Web3 and we'll talk about careers in Web3 and all those interesting stuff. But yeah, feel free to keep chatting. I love to talk about a lot of different topics, guys. I really love when you guys interact in the chat. So yeah. So yeah, Bangalore traffic is a nationwide meme at this point. Yeah, for a very long time. For a very long time, it is indeed. Um, are you guys able to hear my mic fine? Is it fine, or should I, have to get closer to my mic? Is this okay? Okay. What about others? Love to hear about what others are doing and what are you guys up to? Nice gaming chair. Thanks, Aaron. As I said, I got it as a gift from one of my friends. So yeah. Yeah, I've been using this from quite some time now. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to take a look at it. In the past streams, I just had the face cam really small because most of the times my PC screen was shared, so probably the face cam would have been really smaller. But yeah, I'm also trying to get into Web3 now. Yeah, Web3 can be overwhelming when you first get started. And I'm actually in the early stages of my career in Web3. I was working as an engineer in Web2 space. I worked as a full stack engineer, and then just started working in back-end engineering stuff because I don't really enjoy a lot of front-end things. That's just my personal choice. So I moved to back-end. I worked there for probably close to like I was involved in back-end engineering for quite some time, probably like 5 to 7 years, including all my freelance experience and all that. So yeah, I think community manager jobs are definitely good for remote jobs. Yeah, but by the way, in the Web3 space, there's really a lot of demand for community manager jobs because a lot of startups are trying to create their own communities, and it's mostly community driven. Web3 is highly community driven, so there are a lot of opportunities there as well. Community manager jobs are definitely good because you can just I've seen a lot of blockchain developer jobs, cryptocurrency related jobs which require people to go to office, but community manager jobs, it's really a good profile to get started working from home. You can do a job pretty much from anywhere because a lot of the times it's mostly these online communities that you manage. It's really easy to collaborate across. By the way, what do you guys use for collaboration and communication, building communities? I mostly prefer Discord, but if there's any other tool or application that you guys use, feel free to post in chat. But would love some advice in starting out. Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely talk about career opportunities in Web3 and how we can get started. It's not as people think there's not a lot of fancy stuff going around. It's as people say, Web3 is not a paradigm shift. It's just an organic evolution of how technological advancements have happened. So it's not a lot of fancy things going on. People just hype it up really because people have to talk about all this terminologies that others shouldn't understand because just to make themselves feel smarter, just to come across as smarter. But yeah, so Web3 is not really that different from Web2 in terms of getting jobs, finding opportunities, and all that. And Web3, other than tech, what kind of jobs are there? There are a lot of different jobs. We'll definitely explore those as well. And as Girish mentioned, community management is there, social media, making strategies, social media marketing, social media influencing. Because as I said, Web3, a lot of different Web3 ecosystems, Web3 projects, revolve around communities. Because Web3 itself, the core idea of Web3 is to, give the control back to users of the web, right? So Web1 was again decentralized. Every one of us used to run our own servers and in our own garage. So that was Web1. It was decentralized, and Web2 was this innovation in all the cloud technologies and these big companies owning a significant chunk of the traffic that goes in and around the internet. It's like companies like Google, Facebook, and all these different platforms. So most of the traffic goes through these companies. So that's Web2. It's very centralized. It belongs to centralized in the sense it's entities and corporates, companies controlling the traffic, right? In that sense, it's centralized. So Web3 is again, as they say, web is a pendulum between centralization and decentralization. So Web1 was decentralized, completely decentralized. Each one of us who wanted to host a website or their server, had to set up their own infrastructure, own hardware, server, get a CPU, get a server hardware, get a bare metal server, and install all the applications that they want, and then run the server off of their garage or storeroom or whatever. And then Web2 was again, all these centralized things that we are using day in and day out. And again, it's going back to the decentralized side of things with Web3. So it has been a pendulum. So I'm looking into Rust for now, how to get started. Yeah, Rust, I haven't had a lot of experience in Rust. The only time I used Rust was when I looked into writing applications on the Solana blockchain. But besides that, I don't really know. But one thing I know is Rust is very extensively popular. So Saran says WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp is something that I use really less. I mostly prefer staying on Discord because I'm in front of my computer most of my day. So it's close to like, I don't know, probably like 16, 17 hours a day I spend my time in front of my computer. So by the way, I have a 4 monitor setup, desktop setup. So in case you people catch me looking upwards, it's my the monitors above this, the third and the fourth monitor. So I have a 4 monitor setup. So Rama says, I'm a fresher. I have some experience in building React web apps. How do I start my journey towards Web3? Yeah, if you already have some experience building React applications, it's you know, if you still want to just focus on front end applications, it's really easy for you to start picking up different libraries. As a libraries, there are things like Web3.js, Ethers.js, and different things of that sort that can help you, just write applications on the front end. Even on the back end infrastructure side, it's just server side, REST APIs, and on the blockchain side, it's just smart contracts. But anything that a user has to use, has to go through the front end. I mean, if you're trying to focus only on the front end side of things, it's easy for you to start picking up things like Web3.js and how to start integrate, how to interact with blockchain from the front end and things like that. So yeah, it's really crucial. The front end is a really crucial piece for building an end-to-end ecosystem of a Web3 project. Can you give us some places to explore Web3 jobs? Yeah, definitely will. I'll share my screen in a little bit, and then we'll talk about how you can go about seeking out opportunities. And as a question, you have 4 monitors. Yes, I have a 4 monitor setup. I have one main monitor that's 24 inches. I have 2 monitors which are wall mounted on top. So that's 2 and 3. I have the 4th monitor, which is right now the one on which the webcam is sitting on. So that's the monitor I use for all the miscellaneous stuff, right? I run I see Discord chat messages. I run Spotify on there, and I'm reading you guys typing into the chat now and all those things. So I have a 4 monitor setup. So once you go, I used to use 2 monitors, but yeah, once you go 4 monitors, I don't think you can really go back, because it's gives you a lot of productivity when you're looking at multiple screens. And yeah, but I don't really always need 4 monitors. When I'm just doing lighter work, and probably like 1 or 2 screens where I just write some code and have a browser open. I don't really need 4 monitors. But yeah, rest of the time, when you try to do things like when you trade stocks, like in real time, like intraday trading and things like that, you can definitely use as many screens as possible. So yeah, but yeah, once again, thank you guys for whoever has tuned in. Thank you guys for joining. Welcome to the stream again. And if you guys haven't followed me, make sure to hit that follow button. Follow me on Creator Club. And here we mostly talk about Web3, cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and metaverse, DeFi, and all these topics, both from financial perspective and a technological standpoint. So if that's something that you're interested in, please make sure to follow me on Creator Club. So yeah, with that being said, so today's session was, I wanted to talk about Web3 jobs, career in Web3 and how we can get started in Web3. But as I said, there might be people here who are looking at technical jobs as well as people who are looking at non-technical jobs, probably like marketing, sales. As I said, there are a lot of different profiles that you can explore in Web3. It's not, as I said, it's not a complete paradigm shift when it comes to how these things are, how these things appear. It's just an organic evolution of the technology, right? From Web2 to Web3 is just it's just the next phase. It's moving from centralization to decentralized ecosystems and things. So it's not a paradigm shift. So someone who is, it's not like you have to learn something in Web3 and only then you'll get a job in Web3. So if someone is a Web2 developer, let's say someone works on the front end, developer is like someone, just like Rama mentioned here. So if you're already working as a front end engineer, you might be working on Web2 projects. So you don't need to learn anything that's exclusive to Web3, right? So you already know the technologies. Let's say, for example, React, JavaScript, you can pick up a few other libraries and technologies and you can start building Web3 applications. So it's really easy to transition. So that's the reason I say it's not a paradigm shift. It's just an organic evolution. So Rama Chaitanya, thanks for following. Shivam Mandal, thanks for the follow. Thank you guys. Okay, let me just quickly share my screen here. And if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, feel free to post in chat. And let me quickly share my screen. And okay, here we go. All right. Yes, as always, I just start my stream with this screen. I'm always on coinmarketcap.com, so I just use this website a lot. But another website I wanted to show you guys was web3.career, and also I'll make sure I post these links in the chat as well, so that it's easy for you guys to take a look. And also, there's another site that I wanted to share with you guys. But I will not just go to this website and start looking at these job listings yet. So we'll just talk about how generally you can seek out opportunities rather as opposed to just going on these websites and then start applying to jobs, right? So this is a pretty straightforward approach, right? So you just go on job listing websites, and then you filter out all the Web3 jobs that are there, and you just click on apply if something suits you, something feel like you're fit into one of these jobs. You can just click apply. So that's the straightforward, naive way of applying to jobs. But there's more to how you can get started in the Web3 in seeking jobs in Web3. So I'll talk about how to use different platforms, how to use different, how to leverage your connections, how to use things like LinkedIn and all those things. So let me quickly open up my LinkedIn profile. So if you guys don't know what I've been doing so far in the Web3 space, I work with a GameFi company that's gaming and decentralized finance. That's my full-time job. I also work as an engineering advisor, part-time, in a metaverse company. So I do a lot of freelancing as well, not only just on the Web3 side, but also on the Web2 part. But besides that, I do a lot of research in cryptocurrencies technologies, blockchain technology, and decentralized finance, tokenomics, and these are some of the areas that I'm interested in. So if it's something that you guys are, if there's anything specific that you want to talk about, feel free to message me. Feel free to post on chat, whatever you feel like. But yeah, so these two are the websites that I was talking about. You guys can bookmark it. You guys can visit it, see what things are there. So yeah. So with that being said, I'll tell you how I went about looking for opportunities in the Web3 space. So here's what I did. So if you guys have any stories that you want to share, if you guys have anything that you want to mention, feel free to post on chat. If I know some of you guys here are already you guys are in the transition phase, or either or you have already transitioned to a Web3 career, to Web3 profile. So I definitely love to hear what you guys have to say, right? So how you went about doing it. So here's what I did. So for me, so whenever I had to change my job or look for a better opportunity, I always use LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn is my go-to platform for anything that you want to directly talk to someone, talk to a hiring manager, talk to a founder. I mostly seek out right now I'm working in a startup environment. I always used to work in environments that had fewer people. So the first job I had, we were close to like 150 people when I joined them, and the second company that I joined. These are I'm talking about my full-time jobs, right? So the second job I had, we had close to like 120 people when I joined them, and right now I'm working with a company that has close to about like I don't know around 20-ish out of which we have just around 10 engineers or something. But yeah, I mostly seek out smaller work environments, smaller teams that are trying to build high quality products. So what you can do is you can go to LinkedIn. As opposed to going through this. This can be pretty overwhelming, right? If you go to a job listing website like this and you just start looking at um, the listings here. So it can be sometimes pretty specific. It can be sometimes very generic. You don't know what to make of it, right? So when even before I started transitioning to a Web3 job, I definitely looked at these um, job listings, and then I was overwhelmed as well. So I didn't know what to look at. I didn't know. So there are a lot of different topics, a lot of different tags here that you can filter. So let's say, for example, Web3 career. The aesthetically the website looks great. So let's say you're a JavaScript developer, right? And you want and you want to work in a Web3 company that has openings for a JavaScript profile position, right? So you click on JavaScript and you come here and you see a lot of different things. So it can be JavaScript, right? If you can just work on front-end JavaScript, it can just be back-end JavaScript, anything of that sort. If you're just skilled as a JavaScript developer, you can come here and filter it. But even though you filter it or narrow down this list to something that you're already good at, you're looking at, things can really be quite overwhelming. For example, I click JavaScript here, and it should give me all the JavaScript related roles. But you just go through this list. First there's a Golang developer. I don't know why, because probably the job listing, whoever has listed the job included the tag here. I think that's the reason. But there's technical architect. But you don't really know what they're expecting. It's React and JavaScript. You only know React and JavaScript, but they've also mentioned Ethereum architecture. So a lot of different things like that. Site reliability engineer, Node, principal software engineer. They're looking for someone who has React, JavaScript, and Ruby. So it's really tough to make out what's happening, right, in lists like this. So, but personally, what I did was I had a look at these websites. Like two of the websites that I've shared with you guys. I had a look into these websites and I was overwhelmed. I didn't know where to start. Probably when I started out, what I did was probably I go to this homepage and I started looking. I clicked on backend, because backend is something that I've been working for quite some time now. And there's, you see smart contract developer, Web3 developer. I wanted to get into smart contract development, but I had no experience working as a smart contract developer alone, right? So all I did was writing smart contracts along with the backend heavy stuff. So I didn't really know what to do here, right? So Node.js backend engineer, and this is something that I would have just gone into a listing like this and then clicked on apply now. It took me either to a different portal where you can upload your resume and apply for jobs. That's there. So I come here and I read this. And you click on, let's say, apply now, right? So thousands of people do this. So day in, day out. So there are a lot of hundreds of thousands, if not, depending on the number of jobs a company is listing. So I don't know. This is a remote job. So it's from a company that's based out of Germany, and a lot of different jobs like this have a lot of different requirements. But what I personally did was I just came and looked into this list, and I was pretty overwhelmed. I didn't know how to narrow down my list of companies that I want to apply for. Because all I cared about was I wanted to find company that whose product excites me, right? So if I find a company and they're building a product that I really connect with, that I really want to work on, that's something I just catch hold of it. But in this vast list of all these jobs and job listings, it's really tough to do that, because that's necessarily not always the case, because there are people that who don't really want or who don't really seek out anything specific. They just love working on complex things, right? They just love working on writing applications that are really complicated, that are really highly scalable, large scale, distributed asynchronous systems. They love building systems like that. So they don't care about what domain a certain company has their product in or something. So yeah, but personally for me, it was I really cared about what's the company doing, what kind of project it is, what kind of product they are trying to offer or build. And so in that case, it's really hard to filter out a lot of this noise from all these job listing websites. So that is a question: what are the skills you need and background if you're applying as a community manager? I think even on LinkedIn, you can just go to probably a couple of different job listings, and then you have all this. You can read these requirements. But for example, let me just quickly show you how you can use LinkedIn to probably like you can open up LinkedIn. You can go to jobs, and you can specify whatever skill you want. You can say blockchain. Suppose you want to work on blockchain developer. So any company that has to do with even remotely connected to blockchain will appear in this list. And here you can just simply go through the company and go through the profile and all that. Just click here. Every job listing here will have some or the other description. They would have listed their roles and responsibilities. What are they looking at? What are the requirements for that job? And what's the requirements? That's basically what you're looking at, right? So there's a job that says blockchain solution architect from a company called Creatorverse. I don't know what this company is. I just open up that company page. Because from the name, it sounds like it's Creatorverse, probably something to do with metaverse, right? That's what I deduce from the name. So it has to be a Web3 project. So it says Web3 product studio for decentralized and distributed internet apps. So you come down here, you probably go to the website, and if you look at what their project is, right? And if it excites you, you go back and see what's the job requirements, what's the description, what's the roles and responsibilities like. Or you don't have to do it this way. Or once you look into this, it says blockchain solution architect. You already know whether you're getting started into blockchain or already have some experience. Because if blockchain solution architect, you need to have some experience working in blockchain and building apps based on blockchain. So if you already know that this is something that you can do, you go ahead and read this description, or else you just move on, right? I'm not that experienced in blockchain. I don't know how to architect stuff on blockchain. I'm still in the learning phase as a beginner, so this is not for me. That's what you do. So LinkedIn is pretty easy. I would highly recommend using LinkedIn as opposed to these, because if you use LinkedIn, you get that list of jobs where it's easy to understand what's the job like, right? But I wouldn't recommend against using these websites, because if you look at the listings in these websites, some of the jobs from some of these countries outside India, they have really specific requirements, to the extent that they would have wanted you to have some experience on really one specific thing, right? So for example, you have a job that requires you to have let's say 5 years of experience writing Golang applications, right? Writing server-side infrastructure on Golang and things like this. But if you're into hardcore, development, so there are really a lot of skill sets that you need to look into, both technical and non-technical wise. Technical, when it comes to engineering side of things, you learn things like, how to write code and how to, design systems and things of that sort. There's a lot of things. We'll definitely talk about that. But meanwhile, I'll just address a few questions here. What are the skills you need in background if you're applying as a community manager? I think if you take a look at any community manager roles, I don't know how to put this in specific sense, because I haven't really gone through any community manager. Probably we'll just take a look at here. I see community manager filter here. And I think if you filter it based on, so there's a community manager, community and growth manager remote. So if you just look at about the role section here, say we are seeking an entrepreneurial growth manager to engage with developers and product managers. So, but you would already know that a lot of your work involves handling the community, talking to different segment of people in the community, right? There are two sides of things. One is so let's say you're working with a company that has a product that users use. You also the users also happen to have a chance to interact with the developers. You also talk to the developers. You also talk to the users, right? You talk to both the sides. So and let's say you're a game development company who has a game, and then there's 10 million people playing your game. Probably like it's not, let's say 500,000 people playing your game. A lot of different people come into picture in this scenario as well. So, but in this case, you will be mostly talking to the users of your game or your product or anything. So, managing communities differs from company to company, depends on what the company's products or what the company has to offer. So that's all I know about community management, because I haven't looked a lot into what's the requirements for someone to work as community manager. But I have some experience handling a couple of Discord communities, but I don't know whether it's actually the same as handling communities where you talk to users who are using your platform as opposed to talking to people who are in the Discord groups, right? So, Rohas has 3 sets of slides on community manager career on his Instagram page. There, yeah, Rohas Nagpal. I think, yeah, definitely. I've seen his live streams where he talked about blockchain and the technical front of things. Seen a lot of his live streams. But yeah, you get to learn a lot from Rohas, definitely. If Ravindra recommends, then I think you should check out Rohas Nagpal's Instagram profile. He says that he has slides that explain what it means to have a career as a community manager. But yeah, as I said, if you go into these job listing websites, as I said, they can be really specific, really hardcore. So let's say, randomly, if you just take a look at just the titles of these jobs, say Web3 product manager 100%. I don't know what 100% means. Probably 100%. Probably means full time. I don't know, senior Web3 engineer. But yeah, I've seen a lot of different startups which post their jobs in these websites, these Web3.career and Web3.jobs. They also, again, another website. So I think it's called Crypto Jobs. Yeah, crypto jobs, and there's also another one called cryptocurrencyjobs.com. This is, yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of different other websites which I've not personally visited, not personally looked into. But yeah, cryptocurrencyjobs.co. This is, again, if you go to jobs, it's big list of jobs that you can find, right? So you can just try to if you're on the marketing side, if you're trying to look at opportunities in the marketing front, you can click on marketing, and you can filter that. You can see product marketing, you can see content marketing manager, social media manager, senior community manager, growth manager, social media manager. Again, a lot of different things, a lot of different profiles. So it's not necessarily that you have to be on the technical side of things to get a job or have some career opportunities in Web3, but it's definitely possible for all people from all segments to get. So because it's the same as Web 2, right? Because what are we doing in Web 3 is business wise, it can differ, right? So but when it comes to technically what we are doing is the same. Even in Web 2, we are writing software. We have users who use the software, things of that sort. But even in Web 3, we have the same things going on. We have companies that are trying to build applications. It can be decentralized applications, but they are writing software. Still, they have a lot of these job profiles that are there in Web 2 as well. So as I said, don't think of Web 3 as a completely different playground, right? So most of the things when it comes to jobs and roles overlap, certainly there. But yeah, for some roles you definitely need skills that are different than what you would require in a Web2 job, right? So for example, on the engineering front, you would have to learn probably one or two programming languages which are not used in Web2, probably like a programming language like Solidity, which is used only to write smart contracts. So you might have to learn that if you're trying to become a blockchain developer and decentralized applications. So there are things like that in certain roles where you need to do something that's exclusive to Web3. But a lot of these things overlap when it comes to job roles and profiles, right? So you can definitely use, I don't know, these three are the websites that I keep track of. Cryptocurrencyjobs.co and web3.career. These are really good websites, but this is, as I said, this can be very specific and it can be really hardcore, right? People who are really experienced. Because I've seen, from my experience, what I've personally seen is the companies that go ahead and list their jobs here, they're looking for some serious, people who already have experience, right? But we are also talking about people who are trying to transition to Web3. So the best thing for you to do is use platforms like LinkedIn, and I've done a lot of direct messaging on LinkedIn to get a couple of jobs that I'm currently working on. But yeah, definitely as a beginner, the amount of networking that you do on LinkedIn and the people you interact with, it can really help you a lot in landing a job in Web3. But yeah, we'll talk more about Web3 and how you can use LinkedIn and all that stuff. But meanwhile, see a couple of comments going on. Do US companies hire Indians? Yeah, a lot of all the countries they hire Indians. So because because of the same reason why Web2 companies hire people from India, right? So it's the same reason why IT industries is really so big, and same thing goes for Web3 as well. It's easy since Web3 is so remote. It started out as a lot of these startups started hiring remote. It's easy to find talent, and it's easy to outsource a lot of different things to people across different geographical areas, right? So a company from US, if they want to get something done from an Indian guy, they can just simply do it because now everything has gone remote, right? So yeah, US companies, there are a lot of companies from Germany, a lot of companies from Switzerland, there are a lot of companies from Poland as well that I've specifically tried looking into. A lot of companies from European regions. So there are a lot of different, like, ton of startups that are trying to work or build new Web3 applications and projects. So a lot of these companies are trying to even build their engineering base here in India, specifically in Bangalore and other places. So a lot of different opportunities are, definitely there when it comes to getting hired by companies outside India. So this says, but is not decentralization of Web3 is paradigm shift? Yeah, I would say it's the decentralization. I don't know whether I would call it a paradigm shift or not, because because when you talk about decentralization, we also have a lot of questions to understand what exactly decentralization means. Because in the Web3 space, a lot of people ask this question, how much decentralization is actual decentralization, right? Because that's one question that needs to be really addressed. But I don't know whether you can put a quantified answer to that question, because even when you talk about blockchain technology, let's say, for example, specifically if you talk about the Ethereum blockchain, or probably like Solana blockchain, a lot of people point out that most of the nodes, or like significant chunk of these nodes are run on AWS, which means that if AWS goes down, a lot of these nodes that run the Ethereum chain, those nodes go down, right? So in that case, you really need to have a quantified statistic to say that this much, if there are these many decentralized nodes that are not being controlled by a single entity or on a single provider, it means to say that you are sufficiently decentralized. So I don't know. It's pretty vague. Decentralization, the decentralization aspect of Web3 definitely faces a paradigm shift, but not from the perspective when you look at jobs and how you work on different things, right? So how you work on things in the Web3 space, I don't really think it's a paradigm shift. But as you mentioned, yeah, the decentralization aspect, it's completely turning around what's going to happen, how people are going to use different applications and all that stuff. But yeah, how the control is transferred, is distributed towards among the users of the application and things like that. Definitely, I see it as a paradigm shift when it comes to decentralization aspect of the Web3. But I was more talking about how people work on things. It's more like just any other thing that you do even in Web 2, right? So let's say, for example, if you're trying to find a software engineering job in Web 3, and you're just trying to find an engineering job in a company that's working on a Web 3 project. So, right? The way you do things, it's still relevant, right? Still relevant and overlapping towards how you would do things in Web 2 as well. It's like procedure oriented to object orientation. Yeah, I like how you put that in programming terms, but yeah, definitely. It's in that case, it's a completely different paradigm, because object-oriented programming is a different paradigm than writing functional-oriented or procedure-oriented code. So yeah, decentralization aspect of Web3 is definitely a paradigm shift, I feel too. But yeah, when it comes to jobs and things like that, it's pretty overlapping, and it's pretty similar to what people have been doing from ages. When it comes to searching for jobs. Only thing is, there are a lot of different things that have enhanced, right? It's not only in Web3 that you get a lot of remote opportunities right now, even in Web2 and all these companies that have existed for the last couple of decades or more, probably like 4 or 5 decades. Every company that has become really big, even those companies that are not in the Web3 space. I'm talking about Web 2 here. Even those companies have started. A lot of these companies have started hiring remote. Okay? So it's not only small companies, small teams, or small startups that have started doing remote jobs. A lot of these companies that have seen the power of remote jobs, remote work, have also started wandering into that terrain, right? So yeah, as I said, make sure you guys use these websites. I've just named 3 websites: web3.career, web3.jobs, and then cryptocurrencyjobs.com. This was the first website that I came across when I was trying to look for a job in the crypto world and probably in the Web3 space. So this was the first thing. But after that, I got introduced to these 2 websites. So these are really good websites if you're trying to look at something specific. So let's say you're trying to look at DeFi. If you're trying to work in the decentralized finance space, click on DeFi, and you just filter out what all DeFi jobs are there. So as I said, this Web3.career, these websites are really hardcore, right? So they demand a really good amount of experience from people, and you should have worked in some specific thing really for quite some time. So that's so if you're someone who has done that, this website is definitely going to help you a lot. But yeah, as I said, for people who are trying to transition, just go to LinkedIn and try to find people who are already in the Web3 space. Try to make meaningful connections. Try to connect to someone who's already working in the Web3. And also in that sense, you don't have to connect to someone who is already an authority, who's already an expert in the Web3 space, right? Because when I say meaningful connections, you're trying to transition from Web 2 to Web 3, and you need some guidance, you need some advice on how to do it, right? So find someone who has done that, who has recently transitioned to Web 3 role, probably like has 1 or 2 years experience in getting into Web 3 from Web 2, and try to make meaningful connections and try to uh, interact with them and ask them how to how to go about it. Because I've seen a lot of people who has transitioned from Web 2 to Web 3. I'm talking about this specific field, transitioning from Web 2 to Web 3. A lot of people are really willing to help the others who are enthusiastic about getting career opportunities in Web 3. I myself, when I wanted to start out in Web 3, I talked to like thousands of people, if not hundreds. Then everybody, almost like more than 70% of them, I would say more than 70%, at least 75 to 80% of people that I used to reach out to on LinkedIn, they replied back, and they were really helpful in suggesting or probably giving me some advice or pointing me to some leads or references on how I can go about transitioning from web 2 to Web 3. But that's seeing out opportunities, networking and things like that. If you find someone on LinkedIn who's hiring, try to message them, talk to them, try to understand. It's better if you try to understand what's actually being expected from the companies out there, right? So a lot of different companies have a lot of different requirements. So okay, there's a question. What is your advice for my students who are about to start career now after graduation? Yeah, so talking about starting out as a fresher, there are a lot of different things that we need to talk about in that front, because I don't know whether you're talking about like specifically engineering or technical jobs, or like anything for that matter. People who are into finance, people who are into accounting and things like that. Engineering fresher jobs, engineering graduates. Yeah, so I would say for people who are starting out, uh, but one thing I just wanted to put out there was, you can do all the reading, all the studying that you want, um, from the internet, from the textbooks, wherever. But one thing that I've seen has really high value than what you get to see in these, what you get to learn in these course materials, tutorials, is learning from the people who have um, you know personally worked on that, right? So for example, for me, when I wanted to get started, so I have a lot of interest in decentralized finance. So the niche itself is really overwhelming. It's really vast, and there's a lot of things that you need to learn. So one of the specific things that I wanted to learn about tokenomics, I wanted to learn about tokenomics and token engineering. So what I did was I joined all these communities in Discord, and I uh, you know started following a lot of these people on LinkedIn as well, and I started reaching out to them. Right, so I started reaching out to them and started asking for advices. So some of the points that these people mentioned, who have already done that work practically, is something that you don't actually get out of these textbooks and these course materials, and it can be like thousands of hours of tutorials that you might have watched or followed, but definitely this is something that you need to keep in mind, that anything that you extract, or any advice that you get out of a person who has hands-on experience on that, working on something specific, you don't get that in um, you know in any format on the internet, right? So yeah, talking about engineering graduates, I would say there's a lot of debate on what you need to prepare, what you need to study. Should it be data structures, algorithms? Should it be like competitive programming? Should I get into competitive coding and all that? But personally, I would say that I was someone that wasn't at all interested in competitive coding or DS algo and things of that. So even talking about that as well. So DS algo is something that you should definitely do, but there are a lot of um, so a lot of weightage that's not as much necessary is given to these DS algo and competitive programming. That's what I feel. A lot of these companies, it's a good criteria for companies to filter out the competition. Because it's similar to UPSC, right? UPSC exams. I don't know. You might argue that everything that's put into the UPSC exams or syllabus is definitely useful in one or the other way, but that's not what I feel. Personally, I feel that there are a lot of different, bunch of these things that are not really required for someone to, work in that post. Or maybe I'm wrong. This is just my personal opinion, but I'd say that there are a lot of different things that are there just for making it harder for the students or the aspirants, because it's easy. It's an easy criteria to filter upon, right? It's easy to find a criteria where you can filter the competition, right? You just need the top 10 out of 10,000 people. You just make the exam harder. So that's how we do it. You don't want a lot of people scoring close to each other, so that it becomes really tough for you to get the top 10 out of 10,000. So so in that case, that's the reason I would say that focusing on just one thing, or probably just DS algo, probably focusing on just competitive coding, focusing on all the development side of things, and neglecting DS algo is also not good, because ultimately at the end of the day, you want to work in a company that's from the industry, and you just need to look at what the industry is expecting, right? So there are a lot of, even if you don't go through all those preparations. I've seen people overhyping FANG companies, Facebook, Apple, and Google, Netflix, and all these companies that are too much into competitive coding and all those things for filtering out interview candidates. So I've seen a lot of people putting in hours of effort every day for continuous periods of time. That's just overhyped up, according to me. That's my personal opinion. So just look at what's the. But yeah, for if I was in college at this time, and if I knew what I know now, what I would probably do is I would just list these types of companies that I want to work in, and then probably look at what's the expectation from these companies, and just go about preparing or focusing on those things, rather than generally preparing in a generic way on DS algo and things of that sort. But yeah, definitely we'll talk about what all things are there, and how you can get yourself into the industry, whether you're a fresher, whether you're transitioning from some other domain into software engineering. I've seen a lot of people who are working like blue collar jobs, and they've done really well when they after they transition to they worked hard and transition to the software engineering field, and they've done really well. So we'll talk about that someday as well. Is there any project they can do that can make them ready for Web3 career? See, I wouldn't undermine the value that these courses and tutorials provide, right? So when it comes to specifically about back in 2009, when students wanted to make career in cloud computing, we advised them to do project and say Google, Apple, Gin. My things similar now in Web3. Yeah, definitely, because you have advised them to work on something that's practically used, right? As opposed to just going through a bunch of textbooks, reading through the theoretical things what are there in the cloud computing space. People who have worked hands-on on what's being used in the industry, that's they are valued much more higher than people who have certifications that just proves them they have the textbook knowledge, right? So there are a lot of different certifications which are really good. They test your hands-on skills as well, but on the other side, at the same time, there are a lot of different certificates that only test your textbook knowledge, and then they're of no use. But yeah, similar thing. There's because since Web3 is really new. Back when I started, back when I was in college, I started learning Solidity. It was probably, I don't know, in version 0.1 or 0.2 version. It was back when it was in alpha, starting stages. But I couldn't find a lot of material that would help me, find solutions to my problems, right? So whenever I would get stuck, I wouldn't find a lot of material anywhere on the internet. So for that reason, I gave up looking into Solidity. I thought, once it becomes a little more mature, and once people write documentation and textbooks around it, I'll pick it back up. So that was my thought process. So now that there are a lot of different materials, but at the same time, a lot of new developments happening in the Web3 space. So it's really hard for you to find good materials that at least gives you a glimpse into what's being done in the industry. So there are quite a lot of resources, but on the top of my mind, if I have to tell you, there's one thing called I mean, there's a YouTube channel that I follow, which is by Patrick Collins, and I would recommend that. So let me quickly post you that. Yeah. So there was a video by Patrick Collins. You quickly post that video here. You can pass it on to people who are trying to learn how to write smart contracts, learn how to write, get started into Web3 application development. So this is one of the really good videos that I've come across. This really serves as a good tutorial or a starting point for someone who's getting started, right? So there are things like that, but yeah, as I said, if you're trying to build your portfolio, work on something for some good amount of time, because if you try to focus on multiple different things, it's none of the things will become bigger, right? So you'll just have worked on everything for a little bit. So if you focus on one thing for some good amount of time, you'll have some good thing to showcase in your portfolio. So that's something that I would advise. If you're trying to become a full stack engineer, write an application that has the front end, that has the back end, and that also has the smart contract side of things. But yeah, since blockchain is really new for a lot of us, you'll get stuck. But as I said, nothing gets closer to the experience or the value that you can extract from someone who already has worked on these types of things. Thanks for sharing with my students. Yeah, definitely thanks. You are welcome. And yeah, as I said, if you are a fresher who's trying to transition from Web 2 to Web 3, definitely make use of LinkedIn as much as possible. So yeah, you find someone who is hiring. For one of my freelance clients, what I did was, I really wanted to work on one of these projects. It was actually for a metaverse company, and I really wanted to work on what they're building. So what I did was, I reached out directly to the founder, and then I messaged him on LinkedIn, because his tagline said that, hiring developers for building a metaverse platform or something. So I just reached out to him, and I explained that these are all the things that I've worked on, and this is the experience that I have, and how can I fit in in this project, in the project that we're currently working on. So I just did that, and he was really happy to offer me the work on that project. So sometimes things can be really hard, sometimes things can be really smooth. As I just mentioned, it can be really easy to get into one of these opportunities. But yeah, just keep in mind that there's a lot of different things that you need to cover. You need to gain or acquire the skills that's required. You need to be ready to do the networking that's required. You need to spend hours of your time in looking at or trying to filter out that list of jobs that you want to apply to. And it's a lot of different things. Just by mentioning blockchain, you get all these different jobs. But it's not like you go and search for Node.js developer, right? You go and search for Node.js developer. You already know that if you know Node.js, you'll be fitting into most of the jobs that come up here, right? Node.js, you probably are familiar with one or two databases, and then you're good, right? So when you're looking at a much more generic term like a blockchain developer, it's again, when it comes to blockchain developer, which blockchain is another question. Whether okay, yeah, so there's the Ethereum blockchain, there's Solana, there's people are looking at Polygon, people are looking at Algorand, and all these different things. There might be jobs which are looking at particular experience in one specific blockchain or something, or someone who just understands blockchain and knows how to write applications in one blockchain, and they can just easily pick up the concepts and technology, and then just transfer it over to other blockchain. So there are a lot of different things like this. So you need to be willing to put in hours. So as I said, there's no easy way to get a job in Web3, and at the same time, also I'm also not scaring you guys, not trying to scare you, because Web3 is is not that big of Web2. We all know that, right? So companies that are looking out for engineers, they would definitely look for someone who can already who will already be equipped with the skills necessary to get the job done, as opposed to Web2 companies, which are large Web2 companies, and they have the resources and time to grab a bunch of people and provide them training. That's not the case in Web3, because people who are working on Web3 projects are all small teams and small scale startups. But also there are a lot of different big companies that are trying to expand their wings into blockchain as well. Companies like I don't know, Walmart, companies like JP Morgan, a lot of these companies. But yeah, first thing that you do is you narrow down your list of what's the project that you want to work on. But yeah, focus on acquiring the skills, focus on spending time to network around, focus on trying to get advice from people. Let's say you're trying to do a personal project, or trying to build a project for your portfolio, and it involves writing smart contracts. If you're not familiar with it, or if you get stuck somewhere, there's a good amount of chance that you won't get the solution in Stack Overflow, right? Because a lot of these things are new. But again, if you've gone quite into writing smart contracts, that you have some new idea about things like that, there's a good amount of chance that you won't directly find the direct solution on Stack Overflow. So in this case, you might have to talk to people who have already done that, people who have faced that problem. So in order to find someone that has already worked on it, you can't get to someone directly, right? You just need to network around. You just need to talk to a lot of people, and then find out that some of these people have worked on that, and there's a lot of things. So as I said, there's only a bunch of different things. You should be ready to spend some time, put in hours of efforts to acquire skills, put in the time for networking, put in the time for doing your research, looking around for jobs, things like that. But yeah, if if it takes 100 tries, it takes 100 tries. If you get in one shot, you get it in one shot. It all depends on how badly you want the job. Right? So I wanted to work in Web3 because blockchain technology is something that I was passionate about, and I was really enthusiastic on on working in this field, because ever since I started working, ever since I entered college, right? The only two things that I was interested about is engineering, the technology, the computer science technology, and the finance, right? So the best thing of both these worlds for me was the blockchain space, right? It's math and economics, along with the computer science technology combined. So this was the best fit for me. So unless until you badly want the job, you'll definitely be putting in hours and hours of effort before you can find that one thing that that suits you. Okay. What's the broad salary expectations? Not really in a position to talk about salary expectations, because one thing I can definitely share is that it's definitely high paying than your typical Web2 job, because even in Web2, if you look at all these different segments, so let's say we have even in Web2 we have Java developers, we have JavaScript developers, we have React developers, we have Angular developers, we have .NET, we have Node.js, we have Golang. So all these different segments of developers, right? So the segment that has more demand, but at the same time has lesser supply of in terms of number of developers, will become the high paying, right? So in broader terms, even if you look at Web3 versus Web2 jobs, people who have the skills in Web3, talking about blockchain, talking about writing applications on blockchain, so people have these skills are lesser in number when compared to people who can do the normal Web2 software writing jobs, right? So for that reason, it's definitely going to be paying you more than than what you can expect from a Web2, right? That's definitely there, because the supply in terms of number of people who can do the work is definitely lesser compared to people who can do the work in Web2. just published a book, Metaverse Glossary. Um, that's actually quite amazing that published a book on Amazon, Metaverse Glossary. Um, I'll definitely give this book um, a read. Definitely, I'm going to look into this book. Yes, but lately I've been trying to read all the books, all the textbooks that I can. Especially in blockchain and uh, DeFi. DeFi is something that I'm specifically following because I'm more interested towards decentralized finance. I want to suggest some metaverse projects to my students. Any help? So metaverse, when you talk about metaverse, the metaverse umbrella itself is very broad, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do in metaverse. So metaverse, people have this misconception that when they say metaverse, it's Web3 and it's related to blockchain. That's not entirely true, because a metaverse is an experience where you create this virtual world, and you can have it can it can have nothing to do with blockchain, right? So for example, the Fortnite video game, right? So you can consider that itself to be a metaverse, but all the economy and all the in-game currency and things like that, all the economical aspects of the game are within the centralized servers, but still it's a metaverse because it gives you that virtual world, and you can experience that virtual world in a different manner. But you attach blockchain to it, to handle all the economy. You attach a bunch of different things. You make it AR, VR compatible, and you have a fully fledged metaverse of another level. So that's what metaverse means. So if you're trying to suggest metaverse projects to your students, just try to understand what they're interested in, because metaverse projects, they have all these different kinds of profile opened up, right? So metaverse, if you want to get into metaverse, development, you can either go as a let's say a game developer, a 3D artist. You can go there as a AR VR developer. You can go there and write software that does your AR VR stuff. You can go there and write software that sits on the blockchain and handles all the economy that your metaverse is connected to. You can go and do a bunch of different things, probably handle NFTs on the blockchain and things like that. So there are a lot of different profiles when it comes to metaverse. So if any of your if anyone from your circle or your student circle is trying to get into metaverse development, I would say try to narrow down or try to find out what exactly you are interested in metaverse, because metaverse is not just related to blockchain. Right? So there's people have been trying to do a lot of different metaverse games, metaverse sandboxes, and a lot of different things. So it has AR, VR, game engines, and blockchain is used for the economy part of metaverse. Not only the metaverse, but for any any application. Blockchain is the best way to keep asset transactions decentralized. As Rohas Nagpal in one of his streams, he says that this is the best solid use case for blockchain, is that anything that has to be represented as an asset, anything that has asset transactions, blockchain is the best place for it to be. So yeah, again, even in the metaverse umbrella, the blockchain is used for assets, maintaining assets and transactions between people and all that. So yeah, I teach a course on metaverse. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, good to know that you are involved a lot in metaverse. So as you can see, even if you just look at the contents, you would know what I'm talking about. It has a lot of different things. It has AR, VR, it has gaming, it has creating virtual experiences. It has blockchain for economy. It has a lot of different things. So my name is Bhumi, and I'm doing a project on metaverse. I want to take interview of people related to it. It'll be really great if you can help me the same. Can you connect with me on WhatsApp? Yeah, I guess probably Ravindra, Bhumi is looking for someone who's working extensively in metaverse. Probably if you guys can catch up, and I'd feel good that you guys met on my stream. So yeah, that's all I had. That's all I wanted to talk about in this session. But yeah, try to go into this couple of links that I've shared. Web3.career, web3.jobs. Yeah, as I said, some of the things that you need to keep in mind is you need to be ready to put in the hours of effort in acquiring skills, in doing the marketing, in doing the networking, in seeking out opportunities and talking to people. So you know, along with your full-time job, it's going to be really hectic. Doing all the networking and looking at jobs, attending interviews, and all that stuff. But if you want the job, you want it. So it's basically on how badly you want the job, right? Thanks, sharing so much of experience and resources. Yeah, sure, definitely. I hope to do more live streams and sessions on talking about Web3. Specifically from a career perspective. But yeah, I just wanted to keep this as a starter, session where I get started talking about Web3 from a career standpoint. So we definitely talk about what you can do. This is looking out for jobs, but we definitely talk about how you can do your own projects, how you can probably try if you have some idea for a Web3 startup, if you have some idea for a decentralized application that can really solve a problem in the real world, then we can definitely talk about those things as well. And following you here, and we'll get notification when you announce next stream. Yeah, thanks a lot for following Ravindra. Thank you guys for whoever has not followed me yet on Creator Club. Please feel free to hit that follow button. And I keep talking about Web3 and blockchain, metaverse, DeFi, and all this stuff in general. We also talk about cryptocurrencies, investing in cryptocurrencies, and all that. So if this is something that you're interested in, make sure you follow me on Creator Club. And bye for now. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next stream. That's all I have today. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for it was a good 100-minute stream, I would say. And thank you guys for tuning in. And I'll see you guys probably next week sometime. Until then, have a good one. Take care. Bye bye.